Welcome! In this video, I explain how and when to check the SUD, the subjective units of disturbance in EMDR therapy. I will also explain what to do whenever you think the SUD is 0, but it isn't. Please join me. I'm Dr Michael Paterson, clinical psychologist and EMDR Europe accredited senior trainer. I'm developing a series of videos to help people make a difference in the world by developing their EMDR therapy practice. In this video, I'm wanting to help you understand about the subjective units of disturbance and how and when to check. The SUD, the subjective units of disturbance, is a baseline for that client on that day. We check the SUD in the assessment phase initially. We're inviting the client to bring up a picture, the negative cognition, then the positive cognition, and then we get the VOC, that validity of cognition. Then linking together the picture with the negative cognition, we identify the emotions. And then, how disturbing is that for you now? On a scale of 0 to 10, where 0 is no disturbance or neutral, and 10 is the worst possible disturbance you could imagine. So that is the client's baseline for them on that day. Somebody else may actually give a different figure because it is peculiar to that particular client. We invite the client then to bring up the picture, those negative words. Notice that feeling in your body, go with that and let whatever happens happen. It's like a train moving down the track. And so long as the train keeps moving down the track, stay out of the way. At some point, the client might report, I'm calm and relaxed. Do another set. I'm calm and relaxed. At that point, it sounds like you may be at the end of a channel. You go back to target, thinking about the experience now. What do you get? If something new comes up, I can guarantee the SUD is not 0. So go with that. We do another set. If more comes up, keep going. When the client arrives at something neutral or positive, do one more set. And then come back to target. As you think of the experience now, what do you get? Nothing really. Now the SUD might be at 0 at this point, but something new might come up. I will say to the client then, just thinking about the experience, just go with that. I'll do one more set. If nothing new comes up, the client still seems quite calm, I'll come back to target then and then check the SUD. As you think of the experience now, what do you get? Nothing. And on the 0 to 10 scale, 0 is no disturbance or neutral. 10 is the worst possible disturbance you could imagine. Where would you be now? Oh, it's a 0. At this point, that sounds good, but certainly do one more set. And still, if nothing new comes up, then I will move on to the installation phase. But what do you do if, whenever you check the SUD at that point, the client says it's a 1 or a 2? Because they said it wasn't disturbing, and now we've checked the SUD and now it is. Clearly is. So where do you feel it in your body? Here. So go with that. Do another set. From time to time, the client's processing may not go down to 0, and it may be because of a blocking belief. You can ask your client what stops it going down to 0. This may bring the blocking belief into conscious awareness. If it does, notice that, add in the bilateral stimulation. That might be enough for it to shift. Alternatively, there may be a blocking belief arising from an earlier memory. If you have time in that session, you can use an affect scan or a float back to identify what that earlier memory is. Then, if time allows, process that. Otherwise, tag it for processing in a later session. There may be feeder memories which can also stop the SUD from going down to zero. These can arise where, when taking the history, we haven't got back as far as the Touchstone memory. You'll remember that the Touchstone memory is the earliest recalled experience of the client's presenting problem. If the issue that you're working on is to do with personal defectiveness and responsibility, and the memory that you've been targeting is an adult memory or an adolescent memory, the chances are it has its origins much earlier in life, going right back into childhood. And even though you may have done a float back earlier, you hopefully have done a very good history taking as well, and maybe you haven't been able to identify anything earlier than teenage years. In which case then, at this point, you could invite the client to notice that feeling in your body and that emotion, hold them together, and just scan back in time to an earlier time when you felt something similar. When you've identified that target memory, process that. I hope this video has been helpful to you. If it has, please subscribe free to the channel down below. Also, if you want to like the video on YouTube, I would appreciate that too. I want to help you become the best that you can possibly be in delivering EMDR therapy.